Welcome back to the channel. I figured if we are going to do a sit down, I would do something a bit more festive. It being about to be, it's Christmas season. Figured we'd come out here into my very nice decorated front room of my house and just kind of enjoy some Christmas decorations, But today's video we're going to be talking about what my next build will be like. Now, the new car will be coming in the next couple of months, and unfortunately, we'll probably bring the demise of the Sport Track with it. But we will talk about that at a later date. The new build is something I'm really excited for, is just being able to have a car that I can trust a bit more while also being able to start fresh. That's unfortunately something that sucked about the Sport Track in this timeline, is that by the time my channel got to the point it's at now, the Sport Track was done. There wasn't a lot of fun build content to make with it because unfortunately Sport Track was just mostly finished. I've been building it from when I had 100 subscribers, like even under 100 subscribers, all the way to where we are now at almost 1,600. So I mean, it's just like, unfortunately, by the time the channel got to the size it is, and I have the viewership now that I have, the Sport Track unfortunately just was already finished, and there wasn't really a lot I could still do to it to continue making content with it. And that's just one of the things that really sucked about the timing, and it just happens that way. It's just not really something you can predict, and unfortunately it did not work out the way that I would have liked it to. If I could go back and make it so my channel blew up for like not really blew up, I wouldn't really say my channel's blown up at all, but if my channel had the viewership I have now back in like 2017, 2018, which I don't know why you'd want to see me back then. I know a lot of people have at this point, but it's like, I was a cringy mess when I was younger, and so if I could change that, I would, to where the truck was being built with my current viewership levels. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. And so the new build is going to be a new point to start over and bring in not only those new viewers that have been, looking forward to me doing mod videos again, but even possibly some new audiences as well to whatever car I jump into. And so pretty much what the new build is most likely going to be. We're going to talk about kind of the mod direction, not what the car will be, because I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm still probably about a month or 2 months out from getting the car, for one thing. But two, it's just I am still trying to figure out what kind of car I'm looking for, whether I want a sedan, a hatch, a wagon, stuff like that. But let's talk about kind of the things that are going to get given and probably going to happen regardless of what car I get. So first off, we got track builds. I do want to get into Autocross, as a lot of people remember with the From Fire to Autocross series when that was around. The truck intentionally, my original intentions for the Sport Track were to get it Autocross ready. The reason that one had fallen through is because of the SCCA's rules about high-riding vehicles. The Sport Track, unfortunately, I don't think will be meeting those requirements of being low enough to really fit in there. Unfortunately, the Sport Track's pretty tall, and with that, it's just going to make it impossible to meet the regulation. It's always going to be a rollover risk, and SCCA will not let that fly. And unfortunately, where I'm in Atlanta, where I'm from, there's not a lot of options. You either have SCCA or you do illegal parking lot crap, or takeovers. That's kind of Atlanta's thing right now, unfortunately. Don't get me started on takeovers, it could be a whole video. So that's why that fell through. It's just the truck is just too tall, and it just didn't work out that way. So getting a new car will allow me to jump into Autocross, and that's kind of where I want to start. I thought about jumping straight into track days, but the thing is, I want to kind of get to know the car first before I go straight into track days. And Autocross will give me a very good chance to do that without killing the car, hitting a wall in the process, So that's kind of my main reasoning for wanting to do do Autocross first, is to kind of learn the basics of how the car drives before I jump into going down road Atlanta or Atlanta Motorsports Park, anything like that, and throwing 10 tenths out on a road course. It'll allow me to just to have fun and get started in the right way and just enjoy the car. Of course, I also do want to have other projects in the future, but that's a different time. A lot of aero. I'm a big fan of GT race cars and how aggressive the aero gets. Not from a stylish standpoint, but from a functional standpoint. And my point is with this is that I want my next car to feature a lot of functional aero. Functional front splitters, pretty sizable side skirts and canards, all that kind of stuff, while not being tasteless, I guess is the proper term for it. I'm not really, going for the kind of rambunctious aero kind of stuff. I don't know if tasteless is even the proper term for it. I would say obnoxious or just overkill for what I'm trying to do. Some people with show cars that have the aggressive aero, cool. That's their taste, it's not mine. They have fun with their cars just like I have fun with mine. But it's like, don't expect to see chassis mount wings or trunk mount wings, and like I don't mean trunk mount in terms of like actual traditional wings, but you know what I mean, kind of like the idea of chassis mount. FRS isn't very popular with this kind of stuff. But don't expect chassis mounts or anything like that. Kind of expect, especially if it's a hatchback, just kind of wing risers, and that's kind of the best you'll see out of it. But just in general, having functional aero is just, I want the setup to be functional and be able to increase downforce, allow the car to turn faster. Expect suspension mods. The Sport Track, unfortunately, just doesn't have a lot of suspension modifications that aren't putting it on a lift for off-road use, even though 90% of them never touch dirt. And it just was not capable of the handling performance I was looking for. In fact, Sport Track has a crap ton of understeer, excuse me, and I hate it. It doesn't make any sense that a pickup truck with rear-wheel drive would have understeer, but it does. So the next thing is suspension mods. The car is going to be tricked out in terms of suspension stuff. My main focus is going to be suspension because I want the car to handle while also not sacrificing comfort. And I think that's going to be the hardest part of the whole thing, is trying to find coilovers that balance handling with comfort. I want the car to be something that isn't going to break my spine driving through Atlanta every day, trying to go home from work, or wherever I wind up working, because I am considering taking an officialship versus being a freelance score reporter. But that's kind of the next thing, is just suspension mods, sway bars, end links, strut tower braces, coilovers, the whole 9 yards. The car's going to be tricked out. It's going to be meant to handle very well, and I'm excited to try that out. Try to get the car to handle like it's on rails pretty much. The next thing is kind of just be clean. Unfortunately, the Sport Track's, just due to its age and the wear and tear on it, it does have a decent bit of rust and scratches and stuff like that were there when I got it. And of course, not to help, adding scratches of my own in the time period. So I want this car to just be something that is clean from the start and stays clean. And unfortunately, the Sport Track again was not that, and this car hopefully will be. I'm going to do better about keeping up with wax. That's the only thing I feel like I absolutely failed with the Sport Track, was just keeping up on keeping that clear coat, taken care of, because I just don't really have a lot of training in how to do that. So hopefully I'll be able to learn how to do that, so that way it'll be properly cared for a lot better in terms of the paint versus the Sport Track. I do plan on wrapping the car at some point as well, regardless, as long as it isn't the color I'm looking for, just to allow protection for the paint. Wrap tends to last longer in the conditions that I drive in, so hopefully that will be the case as well. And of course, high horsepower. Unfortunately, the Sport Track just does not capable power. It's incredibly difficult to get power out of those trucks, and when you do, they break. Just because it's just the transmission's made out of glass, the engine's made out of glass. When they're boosted, especially, they're just horrible. They're pretty alright reliable-wise when they're NA stock motor type things. Mine's done pretty well in terms of the engine. Depending on who you talk to, really, is how the Sport Track goes. Some people think the Sport Track's unreliable garbage, and some people are like me. It's a little mixed. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this thing kind of isn't great, and then part of me is like, oh, the engine's lasted. But the whole point is, I want this next car to build power. The Sport Track is just limited around 200, and it's just never going to be, shooting into the high level horsepower rates. I want at least 350 to 400 at the minimum for my daily driver, because I'm going to have a project later on. My goal is to have a project that pushes 700, and so having my daily hit around 400 and be reliable is kind of my goal, and that's why the 335D and the GTI come to mind. It's just because both those cars can do it rather easily. Sure, the GTI is going to be a spinning mess, but goodness, will be fun. So it's like, I want my next car to reliably handle power, which is why you're not seeing me look into some more obscure platforms again. I'm looking into cars that are tried and true, like the 335 and the GTI, stuff like that. Is I'm looking into cars that I know are going to be capable of that reliably. Unlike, cars like the Sport Track, for example, which are so obscure, no one knows if it can handle that kind of power reliably, because no one's done it. So my whole point is just trying to make a car reliably fast, if that makes any sense. And of course, it's just going to be fun. I want the car to be something that's enjoyable for me and all my friends to go and ride in. That's why I'm not looking into two-seaters. That's why I'm not buying a Z, because obviously those would be cars that I would pretty much buy in a heartbeat at the price point I'm looking to be spending. Those are both, like the 370 would be such a solid car to buy at my price point. But I need more space. I need more passenger space, I need more trunk space, and unfortunately the Z just doesn't offer that. Or else I would buy one in an instant. It's just the price point does not let a lot of cars that are better. The GTI though is probably the most likely to happen. I think out of the entire group, it's the only one that has gotten unanimous support from my friends, my girlfriend, my family. So it's like I've driven one, I have experience in one, so we'll have to wait and see. But that's kind of just a basic idea of what my next build will be. It will be just a track car for the road. It's going to be handling some good power to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very modifiable. Pretty much just different. It's going to be a whole new world for me. I'm excited to start from square one again. So yeah, my camera died. I'm gonna try to finish this very quickly because I don't know. I think it overheated. Really, I don't know. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content coming soon on the channel with a new car and possibly even sport track stuff. If you guys want to go leave some ideas, let me in the description below or in the Discord server in the comments, whatever. Do that. But that is gonna be the next build. Just fun track car for the road. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, guys.